After a 4-goal outburst a week ago, Minnesota Duluth's Ben Steeves is now tied for the nation's lead in goals scored. He and the surging Bulldogs have made the long drive south to Omaha, where they'll face Ty Mueller and a ranked Mavericks team on the rise. It's coming up next here on CBS Sports Network. This is Baxter Arena in Omaha, Nebraska, site of Game 1 in this potentially pivotal 2-game NCHC series between the visiting Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs and the host Omaha Mavericks. Just 10 games left in the regular season, and the battle for the Penrose Cup and home ice in the league quarterfinals is as heated as ever. Our focus tonight is in the middle of the table, where only 3 points separate third from sixth. Welcome inside our broadcast booth here in Baxter alongside Dave Starman, Shireen Saski, and our crew. I'm Alex Seinert. Every game in a college hockey season carries significance, but Dave, that ramps up just a little bit when the calendar flips to February.
No question. You're playing for home ice. Bottom line is you're going to make the playoffs. You're using these next 6 weeks just to make sure you're ready for Game 1, hopefully at home.
Minnesota Duluth and Scott Sandlin have been ready this time of year. They're the 3-time national champions in the 2010s. They've been banged up this season, but they still have game changers at both ends of the ice.
They really do, and Ben Steeves has been hot lately. He can score from just about anywhere, and he's got a mindset that he can score from anywhere, which makes him dangerous. And Owen Gallinen, a little under the radar as an offensive-minded defenseman, moves pucks really well.
Omaha, meanwhile, coming off a third-place finish in the NCHC. They're back in the top 20 in the pairwise. Mike Gabinet's squad will lean on their experience tonight, especially at forward.
Absolutely. Jack Reynolds, another one of those elite-level scorers that plays in the conference. But Ty Mueller has written a really good story. Drives the net, plays in the hard areas, wins pucks. He has been dynamic for them, and he's going to have to be great the rest of the way.
Another one of the old guard on this Mavs team is senior center Nolan Sullivan. The Mavericks captain is standing by now with Shireen.
Thanks, Alex. Well, Nolan, you guys are coming off an impressive weekend against St. Cloud State. How do you build on that tonight?
Yeah, I think we just got to stick to our identity. We've been playing some good hockey post-Christmas. It's going to be a big stretch here to get into the playoff, and you know what, we're doing a lot of right things, so we just got to stick with it.
Thanks, Nolan. Guys?
It is Sullivan and the Mavericks against the Bulldog team that's won 4 of their last 6. Game 1 begins after this here on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. The Mavericks and Bulldogs met for the first time in 1997, the inaugural year of Omaha men's hockey. Minnesota Duluth has had UNO's number overall, but the team from Nebraska has flipped that lately with wins in 5 of the last 7 meetings. These two teams met on the shores of Lake Superior in December, with UMD winning 4-2 on Friday and the Mavs earning a 1-0 overtime win the following night. Let's look at tonight's goaltending matchup, starting with Minnesota Duluth senior Zach Staeskel.
Had a good weekend last weekend. He's a big kid, 6'5", 220, uses every inch of his frame to be really aggressive in the crease and make sure that he doesn't get leaked on. He is really good at keeping bad goals away.
Ton of experience in goal tonight for the Bulldogs. Omaha, meanwhile, will counter with all NCHC netminder, the sophomore Simon Latkozy.
First time I saw him play was at the World Junior Championships, and he has just gotten better and better and better. He's got a track record and pedigree of success. Lately, teams look like they're picking on him a little bit on the glove side. Intrigued to see what UMD does tonight as they attack the net.
Latkozy back in goal after getting the night off last Saturday at St. Cloud to reset after a grinding 3-game stretch against Denver and the Huskies. The sophomore from Slovakia, though, back in net tonight for the team in white and black and red. Minnesota Duluth in the road maroon and gold, and we are underway for game number 1 from Nebraska's largest city. Great to have you with us wherever you're watching from. Dave Starman, Shireen Saski, and the rest of our crew. I'm Alex Seinert. Great to be here with you. It's a big one tonight. A 6-pointer here this evening. Omaha trying to close the gap between the teams in front of them. Minnesota Duluth trying to reach where Denver and CC and the likes are in those top 4 spots.
And like we talked about a little bit in the open, the bottom line is if you can get into the home ice slot for the playoffs, great. And if you wind up on the road, just make sure that your game is wired tight. You're not leaking oil going into the playoffs.
We mentioned Minnesota Duluth has been banged up all season. They get a couple of guys back tonight in the lineup. Carter Loney, the junior centerman, playing wing tonight, back after missing the last 4 games. And then Matthew Perkins, who's their second line center now, the freshman from nearby Regina in Saskatchewan, back in the top line, back in the top 6 here this evening after missing that St. Cloud series.
They love having Loney back in the lineup because they just feel among all their players his hockey IQ really stands out, and he makes his line mates better just because of the fact that he doesn't make plays that are high risk. He puts pucks in a good area, and he's just smart staying above the puck defensively.
Already a minute 20 gone here in the first. Here come the Mavs now. That's Jimmy Glynn playing it off the wall up to Brock Bremer. A couple of experienced campaigners in the forward group. Pass now taken away. Bulldogs can't complete the breakout. Now they'll have another chance through the freshman Aaron Pionk, a familiar name for Bulldog fans. His older brother Neil, of course, a standout about 6 seasons ago or so, before moving on to the NHL. Whistle here to stop play.
Huge collision in the corner.
That's Griffin Ludke, the sophomore defenseman.
It happened just out of the corner of my eye to the right side of the Omaha goal. And it was a big-time collision. Like I said, I just saw the tail end of it. Take a look at 7 in white. Moves the puck. There's the finish on the hit. And there is the recovery as Anthony Mangini, an impressive young freshman, lays into Ludke, and he was slow to get up.
It looked clean as well, shoulder to shoulder that time between the sophomore and the freshman.
Mangini, one of those guys, and I was talking to Cody Chupp, assistant coach of the Bulldogs, about an hour ago, and he said, I'm sure you've seen it on video. We see it all the time, practice, games, whatever. He goes, he is a kid who you just notice. Smaller player at 5'10", 185-ish, but he plays like an absolute firecracker.
Mangini coming off a game-winning performance against Miami in the 3-2 overtime win. Scored the goal that gave the Bulldogs the extra point and a 5-point weekend against the Redhawks.
Watch Omaha on face-offs, especially in their own end. They are highly structured. They really get after it, and defensively they can bump to bump and get out quick, and here you see it. This to me is what makes Omaha dangerous moving forward, is they rarely get pinned in their own end off of defensive zone draws.
Faceoffs are going to be a key tonight. I got a feeling when we get to your keys to the game, that's going to be an area we're going to be touching on. The Mavs, one of the top faceoff teams in the country, as Latkosi had to be ready. The pass came his way from the corner. Noah Ellis, who's transferred in this season from UMass, a Vegas Golden Knights draft pick, putting his goaltender under some unwanted pressure. Another check there in the corner. It's Clevin who goes down hard this time. This will draw a penalty.
Yeah, that just wasn't smart. Those numbers were glaring at the Omaha player who stepped into Clevin. And that is not a good penalty to take. Steve's really hot about what just happened as he gets separated. Abgrall's the one that got the penalty. He's in the box, and like I said, those numbers were staring at him when he hit him.
You see Kyler Clevin, the junior from Moorhead, Minnesota, who missed basically all of last season with a shoulder injury. Played 15 games before suffering that injury in the first half of the season. Good to see Kyler back on his feet.
And the Bulldogs couldn't be banged up enough. And as we talked about face-offs, one of the issues that they're having is they're down almost all of their centers. And that's been a huge problem for them. They've had to be center by committee. The officials, by the way, are looking at this to see whether or not it's going to be a 2 or a 5. No call has been announced yet, so they can go in and discuss it and see what they come out as. You take a look at Scott Sandel, and he talked about those centermen being banged up, missing 4 centers at one point. Guys have just been grinding it out. A lot of moving parts and people in places that they didn't expect. I love the line he gave us when he said, basically, we've had center tryouts for about the last month. Here it is again. Watch the upper part of your screen by the blue line. That to me is just aching for a 5, and for no other reason than Abgrall was 10 feet away when he saw Clevin's numbers and he still hit him.
for Abgrell. He's a young player, hasn't played a ton this season. Inserted into the lineup tonight on the 4th line by Mike Gabinetz. He's in danger of seeing his night end awfully early.
And that is not the kind of play that you here's the thing. If you're a 4th line guy and you're working your way in the lineup, you want to make impact plays, right? That's not the play you want to make an impact. I'm all for finishing a hit, making a big hit, get the crowd in the game early, first 5 minutes, try to keep the buzz going, keep the energy flowing. Big hit on the bench. I get it. I've been there. But that's not the play to make.
Brian Hankis and Bobby Lucasen, by the way, are our referees tonight. Those two gentlemen with the decision to make just 2.5 minutes into the first of this scoreless game.
And we've got a decision.
One of the unique things, of course, about Baxter is the benches are on opposite sides of the rink. So Lucasen will come and chat with Mike Gabinetz, Hankis with Scott Sandlin. It is a 5-minute major for Michael Abgrall.
But no game misconduct.
Not a game, though. It does not appear to be a game misconduct as well. So a standalone 5 for the sophomore forward. So Abgrall will stay in the game, but his team now with a 5-minute major to kill off in the opening 2.5 minutes.
Now here's where the lack of a pure sentiment hurts you a little bit, because it's an area, here it is again, it's an area they've struggled in on those first face-offs on power plays.
Well, Sullivan's drawing at nearly 60% on the season, 3rd best in the conference. Not a bad guy to send out there to start your PK.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Now, one of the keys for Omaha had to be stay out of the box. Minnesota Duluth, one of the best power plays in the country. Big check there by Lansdell on Pionk. Shot sent down by Proctor. So far, so good for this Mavs PK, which has struggled this season. Just 77%, 7th in the conference. And you see there 44th in the country. Quinn Olson now trying to weave his way through. It'll come to Pionk, the freshman at the point. Over to Steves. 11 power play goals this season.
Keep an eye on Steves and Gallatin on the opposite flanks. They are really good at getting the puck to each other and using Pionk up top as a decoy.
Blake Biondi now, former Minnesota Mr. Hockey, over to Olson. Down low, this is Luke Lohheit, the 5th-year captain. Olson along the wall, up top to Pionk. Steve's trying to find space for that one-timer. Ty Mueller pushed him off his spot. Back to Steves, the sophomore from Bedford, New Hampshire. Played his high school hockey, though, in the state of Minnesota. Mueller, a good clearance this time and a chance for the Mavs to change. Already a minute 20 gone off the Abgrall penalty. Good aggressive forecheck here by Glynn. Down a man. Gallatin able to hold his own. A former National Team Development Program defenseman, number 20. Glynn again standing his ground. It'll come, though, back into the Bulldogs' possession. Here's Jack Smith. Got tangled up with Jacob Gavin.
This unit's interesting because this unit can come with a lot of speed and they have a shot mentality. They like to grab the line on the rush, but they can really move it. And it's a freewheeling, freelance kind of setup. A lot of dive downs from the D. So you see forwards are coming up, Ds are going down. This is a unit that creates some coverage issues.
And just on cue, Lansdell able to take it away. Jesse Lansdell, the Notre Dame transfer. 4 years in South Bend, playing in his first season with the Mavs. Puck won back by the Bulldogs. Already 2:15 killed off the penalty. So far, so good for Mike Gabinett's PK.
I love the play that Lansdell just made. He picked off that pass right by the blue line. Instead of trying to turn around and create offense at the end of a shift, he smartly moved it back to his Ds, and he and his partner could get off for a change, get fresh troops on. That's good hockey IQ, and that's good game management.
Here comes Pionk now. Well, tried to throw the drop pass. Matt Miller was waiting for him. And they force the turnover. Mueller sees it taken right back. Stejskal forced to cover. What a clinic in the opening 3 minutes here on the PK for the home team.
Yep. UMD on their first foray, that first minute, were okay. And since then, they have been really out of sync. As you see Mike Gabinet, the head coach of the Omaha Mavericks, his team is real battle tested. A lot of one-goal games, and he really loves the way that his team plays calm and poised, and just feels it's a testament to their mental fortitude that they have been so good in so many tight games.
Gabinet, by the way, now the third longest tenured coach in the NCHC behind Brad Berry at North Dakota, and the man he's coaching against, of course, the dean in the NCHC now for Scott with 24 years under his belt. Another face-off won by the Mavericks.
You know, it's interesting. This is our 21st season doing college hockey here on the CBS Sports Network. I think there's only 5 coaches that predate us.
Oh, a chance now, shorthanded. It's sitting on the goal line, and it is in. Jack Randall and the Mavs strike. Big shorthanded goal from the senior, and it's 1-0.
Omaha strikes first in the flukiest of ways. Just a home run pass that is not handled well by the goaltender Stejskal, and the secondary shot was handled even worse. This was just a throw to the net that Stejskal should have held on to, and that one had no business getting through. We talked about how good he's been preventing leakers from getting through him. That's a tough one. I think they're taking a look just to make sure across the goal line. But that is just a cardinal physical and mental mistake in the UMD net.
So a quick review, good goal signaled by Brian Hankes.
And it is rare to see a UMD power play this out of sorts. They've got a couple of units that can do some good things. Omaha's out skating him. Omaha's in lanes. Omaha's pressuring him. And the pre-scout was terrific in terms of UMD's reliance on a slingshot.
So Randall's 10th of the season. 9 of those have come in conference play. He's really heated up since we shifted into the NCHC. All-conference honorable mention a season ago after an 18-goal, 16-assist campaign. Big goal by Randall. No more than what the Mavs deserve after an impressive start to this. But now the Bulldogs do still have 1:15 left on that Abgral penalty. A chance to restore parity here. Pionk the shot. Latkozy the glove save.
That's Latkozy's real first touch of the puck during the course of this game. The first time he's actually really had to test himself. And sometimes you go those stretches where you don't get a shot and get a little stale. He saw this one the whole way. This kid, to me, is really a top-notch goaltender. He does so many things well. He's a backwards goalie. He catches with the opposite hand. Does a lot of things well, starting with his positioning, starting with his athleticism, builds into his structure, which is constantly getting better. And he's made himself, even though he's a little bit of a smaller guy, he's made himself look big in the net.
Latkozy officially 5'11", but you would not know it the way that he moves. His positioning to cut down angles. All-conference honorable mention last year as a freshman. Also would have been on the all-rookie team if not for some kid playing in Colorado Springs named Caden Mbarico who got that nod.
And I'm pretty sure that those guys faced each other. At least they played the same World Juniors. Not sure they played against each other, but I'm pretty sure they were at the same tournament at the same time.
33 seconds left on the penalty. Randall again has the shorthanded tally over to Mueller. Puck won by Olsen. Over to Luke Bast, now in his first season with Minnesota Duluth after spending the first 2 at North Dakota. Right to the tape of Olsen. The Bruins draft pick spinning away over to Gallatin. Bast. Gallatin again. Final 10 seconds on the man advantage for the Dogs. Gallatin's shot. Latkozy the save with the big frame of Kyle Bettens right in front. Good stop by the sophomore netminder.
Cody Chubb told me earlier, if you take Loney's brain, Betten's body, put them together, you got a perfect player. Bettens is just a real good physical specimen who gets himself into good spots. That, to me, looks a lot more like the UMD power play that we watched on film play against Miami last weekend. Good puck movement up top, bodies in front of the net, creating a little bit of traffic, possession, and poise. And now they look like they're getting it together a little bit more, despite giving up a shorty early.
Another face-off win, though, by the Mavs. UMD trying to battle in the corner. Power play over. Abgral out of the box, back to 5-on-5. 3 shots on the power play for the Bulldogs, but they allow one at the other end, which gets by Stejskal. 1-0. Omaha, number 20 in the country, number 19 in the pairwise, now under pressure through Anthony Mangini. The freshman puts the brakes on, finds Gallatin. Good stop by Latkozy.
Another test of the glove. I saw it in the last series that Latkozy played in the one before. Teams are going after his glove because he's a shorter guy that likes to go down. So they were testing high glove quite a bit, especially from the right wing side. And it looks like UMD is going to give that a little bit of a poke too here early.
Here's Tanner Ludke now, the reigning NCHC Freshman of the Week, and a nominee for the Tim Taylor Award as the nation's top rookie. LeMay sending it forward. Mueller the touch off to Ludke. He'll toss it to Randall. Gloved and held by Stejskal. Another good look though for the Mavs on the rush. 11:36 to go in the first. The Omaha Mavericks, a shorthanded sally by Jack Randall, staking themselves out to an early 1-0 advantage at home against the Bulldogs. Let the fish fly here in Nebraska's largest city. One 0 our score to the home team midway through the first. Looks like a Dave Starman's keys to the game.
Well, for Minnesota Duluth, Scott Sandlin talked about his veterans need to be good. He's got to be able to depend on the guys that he can lean on to carry the team. For Omaha, it's going to be all about the face-off dot. In 2 games against UMD this year, they were 70 and 58%.
Is that good? I feel like that's a good number. This is also good if you're a Bulldogs fan. 2-on-1 with Steves leading. Good stick by Krenzen to put him off. Nolan Krenzen, who is a Duluth guy, by the way, growing up nearby in Twig, Minnesota. Shot from the point by Gallatin just wide. LeMay, part of this 1-2 combo in defense for Omaha that were a part of the all-rookie team last year in the league, along with Jacob Gavin, up to Tanner Ludke. Puck forward for Zach Erdahl to chase, the Wisconsin transfer, one of 5 transfers on this Mavericks program this year. Erdahl now forcing the turnover. It nearly came to Miller at the top of the crease. Victor Mancini on the keep. His shot partially blocked. Kirby Proctor, one of 10 seniors on this group. Back to Mancini.
Mancini just shoots rockets. And he doesn't need much urging to shoot either. He gets some space, he gets a lane, and he's going to let it fly.
And they've been starting to go in this year. No goals for Victor in his first 2 seasons. Now 3 so far as a junior for the Rangers draft pick.
Bob will like how you explain that. His dad, who is quite the player at Colorado College and has had a long career both in pro hockey and with USA Hockey, but Victor Mancini, his game has really improved. And in talking with David Noel Bernier, the associate coach of the Mavs, he said his game is so calmed down that it's made him more effective. He said if he's going to move on to the NHL, move on to higher levels of pro hockey, if he keeps the calmness in his game that he's developed this year, he is well on his way towards that goal of playing in the best league in the world.
Mancini drafted after his freshman year with Omaha in the 5th round by the Rangers. Another solid campaign on the blue line for UNO. Griffin Ludke, the older of the Ludke boys, in the direction of Brock Bremer. He'll send it into the opposite corner for Glenn to chase down. Bremer waiting for it. Now picked up by Jack Smith, a St. Cloud native. Bettens once again. Pionk back to Bettens. He'll gain the zone with speed. Bettens, the sophomore, got his pocket picked by Bremer. Good back check that time. Lansdell back to Bremer now. Just 5'5", but such a strong skater. And a really friendly kid. One of the happiest-go-lucky guys you're going to find as he and Goats get tangled up. Braden Fisher now, the freshman from Winnipeg. Bodied off it by Mancini. Abgral back on the ice for the first time after taking that 5-minute major. Ellis. They'll put the brakes on. Good finds in the direction of Slipik. The sophomore in the corner battling with Pierce. Jacob Slipik tried to force it through to Wohlrag, and this sophomore line out there now for the Mavs, and they'll have some defending to do. Here is Clevin. No worse for wear after that hit from earlier in the period. Shot fanned on by Fisher. Mancini coming across. Loney will help it along. Fisher to send the puck back. Loney tried to feed Clevin in front. Rollwagon was there to break it up. The shot comes in off the side netting. Better, though, from Minnesota Duluth midway through the first. Shots on goal 6-4 in favor of the hosts, and that despite being down a man for the first half of this first period. Loose pass, Tanner Ludtke battling forward. It'll come to Mueller, a Canucks draft pick. He'll get tied up with Steves. Dubinsky across to Gallatin. Olsen. Gallatin's shot knocked aside. Ludtke to hack at it. It'll come to Randall. Jack Randall one-on-one with Gallatin. Forced out wide by the junior defenseman.
Great stick. What a great stick by Gallatin. And good ride time to stay with his check.
Tanner Ludtke across the slot towards Randall. Gallatin able to get it away.
All because he stayed with his man. He rode him up high, and then when his man went back down low, Gallatin stayed with him, kept an inside track, and was able to make a secondary play by the net. That's just a really good, smart play by a really good defenseman who can skate.
Goats only as far as Proctor. So bounce in front of the Bulldogs bench. Biondi getting it forward. Connor McMenamin, the Penn State transfer, giving chase. They'll poke it past LeMay. Sullivan, the Omaha captain there. Perkins lost out to Erdahl. 2-on-2 the other way for the Mavs. Zach Erdahl pushed out wide by Pionk. Crowd wanted to hold that time. It comes to Proctor at the blue line, and he finds the back of the net! Kirby Proctor! The senior D-man lights the lamp, and it's 2-0 Mavericks.
Good low to high play by Omaha here. It was a really nice play by Pionk. Erdahl just stayed with it. Protects the puck. Now he moves it up high. Now you get some traffic to the front of the net. Simple low to high. Find a shot lane and just put it through to the front and see what happens. I don't think Stejskal ever saw this. Look at all the traffic in front of the net. Omaha had one. UMD had two. I'm not sure the goalie ever saw it until it was by him.
Fourth of the season for Kirby Proctor, the grad student from Okotoks, and the Mavs now on the attack again. Good stick by Luke Bass to prevent the shot from Glenn getting to Stejskal. Tough start for the visitors here, down 2-0. We had a beautiful angle of that Proctor shot coming from the blue line, right past the glove side of Stejskal. For a little more on the team up 2-0, here is Shireen Saski ringside.
Thanks, Alex. Well, in talking with Mike Gabinet this week, he emphasized how his team likes to play with calm while keeping intensity up. I think you're seeing a lot of that here in the first. He said he encourages play with poise, play with urgency, that this will be crucial in games down the stretch as his players process the hard moments and make plays through them. They're certainly doing it thus far tonight. Guys?
Good stuff. Thank you, Shireen.
And there's a big difference between playing with urgency and playing with desperation. Urgency is playing with controlled intensity. Desperation is you're flying by the seat of your pants, just trying to make things happen without a whole lot of structure. Omaha has been more in that urgency mode, and it's working for him.
We asked Mike Gabinet this week, how would you characterize this year's team? And he said, it's a team. We are team first, hardworking. That's what Mavericks hockey is about. They don't have quite as many headliners as they've had in recent seasons, but still guys who can put the puck in the back of the net.
But credit to them. They've brought in some headliners over recent years. They moved them all on.
Oh.
And now it's time for this young core to start developing into headliners. And this is a pretty well-coached team, which has the ability to develop young talent.
Perhaps a chance now for Fisher. Latkozy there. Sixth save of the first for Simon Latkozy. We will step away with 5:43 to go in the first. Mavericks doubling the advantage through Kirby Proctor.
Scott Sandelin's Bulldogs down 2-0 here in the first. Coach, not the start that you wanted. What's the message to your team at this point?
Well, you got a lot of game. You got to stay with it. Obviously, the power play was not very good, and they capitalized on a sloppy play, and the same thing with our second goal. We turn it over inside the offensive blue line. They come down and get an offensive chance. We don't block a shot. Little details that make a difference. So we got to get back to playing on our toes and get some pucks in their end and play a lot harder.
Thanks, Coach. Guys?
He makes a great point. That turnover inside the offensive blue line, they call that area the gray zone, 5 feet inside either blue line, and that's the last place you want to turn pucks over because it ultimately is going to wind up in transition the other way, and you're going to wind up defending from an area you don't want to. So pucks in, pucks down low below the goal line, create races, smart fundamental winning habits are what he's preaching.
And that's what this Bulldog team has been doing of late. They've won 2 in a row. They've been good in the NCHC in their last 10, 6-3-1 in conference, and now they will be going on the penalty kill as Tanner Ludke gets hooked on his way into the offensive third.
And Ben Steeves thinks that was a little bit of a dive. We'll take a look as Omaha grabs the line. I'll tell you what, he did enough stick-wise, according to the letter of the law, to earn the penalty. I mean, it's not like there was hard contact, but you can't put your stick up parallel to the ice like that on somebody's hands and impede their progress when they own the space that they're heading into. So that's a good call.
So Steeves, the nation's co-leading goal scorer, now in the box. His team on the PK, and no surprise, Sullivan wins the face-off. Chance for this Mavericks power play, which has been better of late, to get something going. Just under 17% on the season. That's 6th in the conference, bottom 3rd in the country, unfortunately, this year for Mavericks fans. But they've been better of late, as we said. 4 straight games with the power play goal. 5 of their last 6 goals, or 5 of their last 6 games have resulted in a power play tally.
Yeah, 5 for 15 their last 4 in 21 minutes and 43 seconds. That's a pretty good ratio of goals scored to minutes played.
On the flip side, the Dogs' PK has been great, especially in the NCHC. Overall, about 83%, which is good. 2nd in the conference. In their NCHC games this season, almost 93%, Dave. 47 for 51, their PK in conference.
I'll tell you what, the most glaring number that came out at me as I was running through some of the analytics. Last 4 games between Miami and Western Michigan, they're 1 for 17, killing penalties in 35.5 minutes. Now, they've given up 38 shots. So they've gotten real good goaltending, which Scott Sandell alluded to, that is making the penalty killing look better because these goalies are covering up for a lot of mistakes. Yep. That's a boatload of shots, but a pretty good percentage. 1 goal allowed in 35 minutes.
And that power play goal came in what was a 6-1 game last week against Miami. So not one that came back to hurt the Bulldogs. Stejskal and Matthew Thiessen have been splitting time this year. Stejskal with about 2/3 of the starts. Here comes Tanner Ludke now, 3rd rounder of Phoenix. Back to his brother Griffin, across the way to Matt Miller. The Indiana native across to Mueller. Ty Mueller, who tried to pick that far corner. Broke the stick along the way. Puck stays in though. Griffin, Ludke. Tanner Ludke. Those two combined for the overtime game winner against St. Cloud on Saturday. Shot from the point, knocked down in front. Loney will clear his lines with 25 seconds left on the Steeves penalty. Oh, LeMay. Cool as you like with Mangini chasing. Omaha offside.
The other good thing about Omaha's power play recently is when they've scored in games. You go back to the St. Cloud series. Miller scored a power play goal to tie the game. Tanner Ludke scored in overtime on a 4-on-3. Ludke scored again, made a game 1-0 against Denver, gave an early lead on the road. And against Denver in a 6-3 loss, Mueller scored a goal that tied the game 2-2. So they're scoring timely power play goals. Sometimes it's not the percentage. It's when the power play goal happens. So you can go 1 for 7 on the night on the power play. If that 1 goal matters, your power play had a good night.
That's great perspective. Numbers don't always tell the story, do they?
Numbers can tell whatever story you want them to tell, but sometimes it's the eyeball test and the practicality that matters. And like I said, if you're tied 2-2 and your power play is 0 for 7, you get a power play goal and win the game, your power play had a great night.
There are still 3 seconds left on the power play for the Mavs before Steeves is out of the box, and now he is out. Back to 5-on-5. Ben Steeves nearly a chance to become creator with Mangini flying forward. Sullivan got the stick up a bit on Goetz. We play on, though. Two guys that have played a lot of hockey in this conference, Darian Goetz and Nolan Sullivan. Connor McMenamin, former Big Ten guy, finding Perkins, the freshman, roofing this one over Latkozy. Welcome back to the lineup, Matthew Perkins. Minnesota Duluth on the board, 2-1 our new score.
This all started with really, really good hustle by Steves coming out of the box to win a puck. And at that point, Minnesota Duluth went to work, and Perkins finishes it up with a really neat shot, high, glove side, like we've been talking about on Latkozy. UMD has been picking on it. They get paid earned on it, but it really started with Steves flying out of the penalty box like his shorts were on fire, winning a puck at the blue line, and allowing Minnesota Duluth to win a 50-50 and spring some offense.
So Matthew Perkins, the freshman from Saskatchewan, fourth rounder of Vancouver, coming up with a big goal, unassisted here. Remember, he missed the last series, out with injury. Now his team under pressure. Erdahl flying in. Stejskal getting the paddle down. End to ends here at the end of the first period.
Dubinsky got lucky. For Minnesota Duluth, he got caught a little flat-footed, 28 and dark. Everybody in the world knew that was going to be a little chip off the wall to spring Erdahl, and he hesitated for a second. Did Dubinsky, and Erdahl flew right by him.
Here come the Mavs now with Mueller. Oh, nearly had Randall in the slot that time. It goes underneath Jack's stick.
And Alex, it just happened again. So that's twice on the rush where Omaha just pokes one ahead, a little chip pass off the wall to gain speed wide, and the puck receiver coming in second goes wide on the D and wins the race.
Here come the Mavs once more, 1:45 to go in the first. The crowd for a moment wondered where that puck was. Randall off the window. Mancini the blast. Good stop by Stejskal. First goal for Perkins, by the way, since before Thanksgiving, back from 11-17, 23 against St. Cloud State. Nice time for the freshman to get another on his CV. Is Omaha offside here with 1:21 to go in the first.
And UMD get themselves an offensive zone draw here. But Nebraska, Omaha, they have been really good on these faceoffs. We've talked about it through the period, and Dave Noel Bernier does a lot of work on the faceoffs, as does head coach Mike Gabinet. The one thing that they judge in terms of their game readiness is how good they are, not only just on initial draws, but how good they are on secondary wins off scrambles. If they're good there, they know that they're locked into the game. And there's a secondary win for him.
Benton's able to come up with the puck below the goal line. He and Mancini and Jack Smith all tangling. Mancini, the big man, can't get it away. Kept in by Joey Pierce, who Scott Sandlin called a Swiss Army knife. He's played forward, he's played defense. He's back in the D-corps tonight, paired with Luke Bast.
There was a game the other night where he was killing penalties as a defenseman and playing forward. and the coaching staff jokes to him, like, where do you want to play? And he goes, I'll play anywhere. He's a forward in high school. He says, wherever you need me, I'll play anywhere. I'm just happy to be a Bulldog. And that's all he wanted to be.
He's a local kid from Hermantown, one of 4 former Hermantown Hawks on this team, as Sullivan comes in off the bar that time. Omaha threatening again. 30 seconds left in the first. Gave in the blast. Stejskal to stop. The rebound knocked aside. Sullivan had the chance flying in.
The net's off behind Stejskal. Just as a by the way, I'm intrigued to see what happens if it comes down that way.
You could see on that shot by Sullivan, Stejskal backed up just a little bit and bumped it off. We play on here. Now, Stejskal notices it, by the way, but there are just 3 seconds left in the period. Loney will play it forward, and time will expire on the opening 20 minutes. Coming up at intermission, Shireen will have a chance to chat with a Minnesota Duluth player. We'll also look at this Omaha Mavericks program and break down a bit of a frenetic opening 20 minutes. A lot of talking points from the first here tonight. A big one tonight in Omaha. The Mavs and the Bulldogs battling for 3 big points in the NCHC standings. 2-1 our score, the home team on top. You're watching the NCHC on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
The Bulldogs sit just 3 points away from third place in the NCHC, hoping to pick up those key 3 points tonight. They trail by 1 after 1. Well, joining me now is Captain Luke Lohheit. And Luke, a very physical, fast first period out there. You guys were down 2-0, but the freshman Perkins comes through. How were you guys able to bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, they came out fast, they came out hard, but we just got to have consistency. We've talked about that the past couple weeks. No matter what happens, we got to stick to our game and play Bulldog hockey, and that's getting pucks behind, that's driving guys down, and Macca made a great play. Perky put it in the back of the net, so we got to build off that and come out hot in the second. What's your message to your teammates as you get ready for the second? I think just relax. I think there's lots of energy, especially right now, but right as we came out, the building's packed, and we just got calmed down. Some guys haven't been here yet, so just relax, stick to our game, and we'll be fine. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Luke Lohheit of the Minnesota Bulldogs. Coming up, we'll take a look at the Omaha Mavericks. It was a very heartbreaking year last year off the ice, but they persevered on. We'll explain coming up. The Mavericks have responded well to pressure this season as they are 10-1-0 in one-goal games. They're locked in another one-goal game tonight. Well, Mike Gabinet has preached perseverance with his Mavericks, and last year that was really put to the test as they lost a beloved family member and associate head coach Paul Gerard. The 57-year-old died on February 15th after a long battle with cancer. And while the Mavericks were brokenhearted, they persevered to play on the rest of the season, honoring PJ's legacy.
Here at Baxter Arena, a nice moment of silence before our game tonight in honor of Paul Gerard and Paul's wife Cheryl dropping the puck to lead us off tonight.
Last season was certainly a challenging one for your program. You finished third in the conference. All these accomplishments while watching associate head coach Paul Gerard in his final days as he lost his battle with cancer. Looking back, can you tell me some of the moments you remember?
Yeah, that was a tough year for sure. Lots of positives, as you mentioned, with the team aspect, but lots of really trying times too with the personal aspect with Coach Gerard. So, you know, the great thing was he was around as much as he could be around. So, as you know him, that, you know, always a positive, enthusiastic person. So, that was really nice just to spend time with him at the rink, even if he couldn't do a lot on the ice or off the ice, just to spend time with him.
Was last year your toughest year as a captain, considering that a family member of the Mavericks passed away and associate head coach Paul Gerard?
Yeah, it was an incredibly tough time, to be honest. From an emotional standpoint, it was a bit all over the map. And so trying to lead through that was a very interesting period. But, you know, Omaha's always had great people, and PJ really represents the best of what Omaha is and what we represent and stand for.
How did you see your players handle this day in and day out, and what did you do to try to comfort them throughout?
I think just trying to be real. I think there were days that maybe I wasn't at my best. You know, you're emotional, you know, you're going through it just like they are. And so I think just trying to be really and vulnerable and honest with them about, you know, dealing with that and being open and allowing guys to communicate with each other and talking to each other how they're feeling, I think was really important. I think we all kind of ended up going through it together and supporting each other through it. And I think that made us tighter as a group a little bit, to be honest, to experience like something like that together.
It's really easy to get caught up in something like that and really dwell on it, but there's something about being at the rink every day with the team that actually helps you get through a hard time like that and going back to work.
What excites you most about this group this season?
I think just the character and the work ethic. I think it's what makes Omaha a tight-knit family culture. We've been through that adversity. We've had the ups and downs, but ultimately I think going into this season, there's just some pure excitement.
This is a special group this year. I think it's just really important we focus on those day-to-day activities, those week-to-week activities, those opponents every weekend, and not necessarily just judge ourselves based off you know, wins and losses at the end of the day, but really on our growth and how are we getting better? Are we really maturing? Are we taking more responsibility for ourselves? And that's kind of my definition of success.
First intermission continues here from Baxter Arena in Omaha. The home team with a 2-1 advantage over the visitors from Duluth. Welcome back inside the broadcast booth. Alex and Dave with you. An opening 15 minutes that you would say, Dave, would have gone pretty much according to script for the Mavs. Big goal there at the end, though, by UMD.
Well, Scott Sandlin told Shireen on the bench interview during the period, there's a lot of game left, a lot of traction left. It's a matter of stabilizing and getting back into it. And they managed to manufacture a play, and a lot of it started with Steves coming right out of the box, winning a puck, which launched that play going forward, but a huge goal late in the period.
Those little things, they make the difference in games like this. Let's look at the highlights from the opening 20. After UNO took a 5-minute major penalty in the opening 2.5 minutes, Jack Randall strikes shorthanded.
See, one thing about little things? Here's a little thing right here. Control the rebound. And then, obviously, you want to make the second save, but control the rebound. That second shot never happens, and I'm sure State School knows it and would love to have that one back. This one is interesting because they win a battle. It's at their own blue line. They got the puck down the other end of the ice. This one went through just everybody. I don't think State School ever saw this one, but good heads up and being alert by Nebraska Omaha to get that shot through. And then UMD manufactures a goal late. We just talked about it. Steves had come out of the box, won a race, and launched UMD forward. And Perkins with a bullseye.
Numbers top to bottom, pretty close. Face-off battle tighter than we expected so far through 20.
Omaha has won a majority of the important face-offs in the period, most of them being in their own end, where they're a little under 60% for the season.
Not too shabby there for the Mavs. 2-1 our score. Second period coming your way right after this here on CBS Sports Network. Getting set for the start of period number 2 here from Omaha. 2-1 our score. The Mavs on top of Minnesota Duluth by 1. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, it is a full day of college hoops, starting with a Patriot League tip-off between Navy and Colgate, followed by a matchup in the Missouri Valley as Murray State and Northern Iowa clash. Then at 8, we bring you back-to-back Mountain West battles as Wyoming takes on UNLV and Colorado State travels to Fresno State. Catch all the action right here on CBS Sports Network.
And the big question is, where does Mo go? Where is Mo Casera going?
I got to think Mo's got that Navy Colgate game tomorrow.
He's a Patriot League guy. However, Mo will have to drive past Hofstra, which is 10 minutes from his house, to get to Colgate. But he is originally from that area right around where Colgate and St. Lawrence are, and grew up a huge college hockey fan watching those teams.
Well, a lot of fun for our buddy Mo out east. Good battle brewing here between two teams from the Midwest, Minnesota Duluth and Omaha. Mavs currently 7th in the NCHC standings. The Bulldogs trying to continue to push the gap between those two. They have a 5-point edge on UNO. Minnesota Duluth currently in 6th place in the conference. Both lurking around the pairwise as Ludke, Tanner that is, firing it across to Randall, who got the scoring going. Proctor, who scored Omaha's second goal, now gets it back at the blue line. He'll fire, deflected that time off low height. Shot from a tight angle, hit by Stasel, and the cage goes off the mooring. And this time that does draw the whistle.
I like how Stasel fought off both shots here. On the first shot, he did a really good job at looking through the screen after getting victimized in the first period by a long-distance shot that found the net. So here comes the first shot. Look where Stasel is. Gets up on the screen, makes the save, and look how he stays ready, squared for that second shot. He defaults to the RBH, but he's squared with his shoulders to face that dead angle shot, keeps the rebound under control.
Stasel, a big man at 6'5", 220. Been a part of some big games, of course, for Minnesota Duluth over the years. His team unable to win this particular face-off. Puck will bounce to Steves, across to Olsen, poked away by Krenzen, picked up again by Gallatin. Mavs back in possession. Glove down by Gallatin. He'll send it in and go for a change. LeMay. And one of 2 blue liners from Quebec for UNO this season, over to Sullivan. Erdahl, good find across. He had LeMay there.
You don't think Dave Noel Bernier had a little bit to do with that piece of recruiting, did you?
Just a guess that perhaps DNB made a phone call or two. Glenn will rim this around. And they'll go all the way outside the zone. LeMay, or Gavin now, the other of that Quebec connection. Griffin Ludke, the good-looking sophomore, up to the tape of Lansdell. The former Fighting Irish forward, she's that shot blocked by Goetz. Puck not held in by Griffin Ludke, had to wait for UNO to clear. Shots 12-7 now in favor of the Mavs. 2 minutes gone in the seconds. McMenamin tried to get it up to Biondi. Good job by Lansdell to get in the way. Battle in front of the Duluth boards will go to Slipik. The sophomore now gaining the zone, watched by Goetz and Bettens in the corner. Roll wagon across. Puck stayed there in the corner as Slipik picks it back up. Abgral stopped by Stejskal. Roll wagon back on it. Ellis loose in front for a moment. Stejskal able to cover with Slipik waiting. As you look at Minnesota, Duluth, and Omaha, these two have had different paths, of course. UMD's been around for a long time. Omaha starting in the 97-98 season. Those 3 NCAA titles won in 2011, 2018, and 2019 for the Bulldogs. The Mavs, of course, got to a Frozen Four in 2015 in the middle of that run by UMD. Two big programs in this league.
Yeah, them and North Dakota both got there together that year. Interesting, Dean Blaze took Omaha there. And North Dakota was there as well. North Dakota lost to BU. Omaha lost to Providence.
Yeah, 2 NCHC schools making it, but none able to get beyond the semifinal. Shot that time by Rollwagon wide with 17:09 left in the seconds.
BU had that Eichel person. He did fairly well in that tournament.
I seem to remember. Pretty good freshman season there for Jack.
Yeah,
although not good enough to get him across Nate Lehman's Friars, though.
That's true. On the strangest goal you will ever see in a national title game. The one that fell out of the goalie's glove and into the net.
Everybody trying to get to St. Paul this year as UMD creates the turnover. Bulldogs, of course, winning 2 of their 3 national titles at the XL Energy Center.
And that one against Michigan in overtime in 11 was an amazing game.
The video of the game winner has been doing the rounds lately, by the way, which has been fun. Bulldogs back in possession. Steves from the point, knocked aside by Latkozy. Gallatin, he'll fire. Traffic in front. Krenzen might have blocked the shot. It comes back to Olsen. Quinn Olsen fought off again by Latkozy. Good flurry here by the Bulldogs. A battle below the goal line will come to the corner. Olsen waiting up top. That's Aiden Dubinsky, the sophomore from the Chicagoland area. Gallatin loses out. Tanner Ludke back on it. 3-on-2 for the Mavs now. 4 minutes gone in the second. Ludke to Mueller, back in front. He had 2 men to aim for. Neither Randall nor Ludke could get a stick on it.
Really good sort out by UMD coming back. Great hustle by Steves.
Sullivan, they're forcing the turnover. The rebound fell right to Tanner Ludke. And now Dubinsky throws Sullivan down. Ludke comes across. It's going to be the second guy who will get the penalty. Tanner Ludke with the cross check that time is likely headed to the penalty box.
I didn't even think that, and I didn't think the first one was a penalty, to tell you the truth. Well, we just talked about UMD getting back well. Steves covered for Gallatin. Gallatin had pinched. Steves covered him as a good F3. And now, look, you got a 2-on-2 on the side. You got a good hustle coming back. Basically, for UMD, you had a lot of good coverage, and that play to the net was a little too tight. Then Stejskal makes another pair of really good stops. He has been tremendously sharp. I didn't think that was a penalty. That definitely was.
It's always the second one, isn't it?
Well, in that case, it was really the first one.
But they gave it the first one. I apologize. Dubinsky's the one in the box.
And Scott Sandelin, I think, wants an explanation as he's watching this on the video board here in the arena. And what I think he's asking for is a 5 on Ludke for contact to the head. And I'll tell you what, you watch the replay, it is clear as day that it was an elbow to the head by Omaha. So here's the first play here. There's a little push out. You know what? You let that go because basically you're getting the guy out of the crease. That was contact to the head direct, which I think should be a 5. I don't think it was headhunting. It just happened.
Well, a lot to sort out. Scott Sandlin, not a happy man after that particular exchange, goes against his squad and perhaps has good reason to be upset. With 15:28 left in the second, his team going back on the penalty kill. They are 1 for 1 on the PK tonight.
I would love I would love to be at happy hour near this discussion as that got how that shook out. And these are 2 good officials too, but that's one of those cases where video disproves what the outcome was.
Ty Mueller able to win the faceoff on this power play. So a great chance for Omaha to restore their 2-goal lead. Tanner Ludke, who's perhaps a lucky man to be on the ice right now, has the puck over to Randall. Up top to Griffin Ludke, to the younger brother Tanner, who just turned 19 in the fall. Shot past Mueller. Jack Smith up to Mangini now, one-on-one shorthanded. Remember, Omaha has a shorthanded tally tonight. UMD trying to create something as Latkozy stops that bouncing puck. Simon tonight making his 500th save of the season. He needs 10 more for 1,000 in his career. His team now on the attack. Ludke, though, got his pocket picked by Goetz. 1:14 left on the Dubinsky penalty. 5 minutes gone now in the second.
I would say right now the feel on the ice has to be combustible. Like, this game could go in a lot of different directions depending on who lights the fuse here.
Well, it has been chippy since almost the opening whistle.
But it's hit a little bit of a different spot now because now UMD has stabilized the game and they probably feel like they just got boned a little bit here on this call. And so now their attitude has changed.
Brock Bremer will drop it back. Lansdell trying to create space. He'll drive and fire. Good stop by Stejskal. Caught him up high that time. LeMay tried to connect with Gavin. Loney got the stick in the way. Bremer. Nolan Sullivan. Lansdell will drop it back. LeMay across to Bremer. Brock Bremer shot blocked. It nearly fell to Lansdell in the slot. Comes to the half boards and now cleared away.
That was almost one of those cases where the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? It was a great shot block, but unfortunately went off the shin guard of the UMD defenseman and right into a high danger area.
Well, Dubinsky now stepping out of the box, got tangled up with Bremer. We play on. I'm not sure what UMD's bench would have done if that call would have gone against them.
There's your makeup call, by the way.
Mangini, the freshman, 7 goals this season, leaving it for Goetz. Blocked by his own man in front and still loose as Latkozy's lost his paddle. The sophomore quick now to pick it up. That shot from the point. Bodnarchuk had the chance, and now more of this, which has been present since shortly after opening puck drop. Smith and LeMay and Bettens and Gavin all tangled up. One shot on goal on that Mavericks power play a moment ago. UMD 2 for 2 on the PK. 7 gone here in the second. We'll let the officials sort it out and come back to Baxter to tell you what happens right after this.
A physical one here tonight in Omaha. 2-1 our score midway through the second, and the Bulldogs have been banged up for much of this season, and that's forced Scott Sandlin to really work on managing his practices. With fewer bodies on the ice, Sandlin has shortened his practices and even given them a more pointed emphasis in certain areas. This Monday, in fact, he adjusted by having a split practice, all so he could go through the drills he needed to get done with the few bodies he's had to work with. Guys?
Yeah, sometimes you draw up a practice and you have a plan, and all of a sudden you walk into the locker room and the trainer comes in and says you got 11 healthy bodies. Have fun. And practice changes quickly.
They have just been hard done by injuries again this season. It's been really 3 years in a row that the Bulldogs have struggled to keep a full lineup intact. Speaking of being down a man, both teams down a man at the moment. It's 4-on-4. LeMay in the box for Omaha. Smith in for UMD.
Now with Lohheit and Olsen out for Minnesota Duluth, those guys have some jump, and they could turn this thing into a little bit of a track meet. To me, for Minnesota Duluth, this is a nice opening for them, because the one thing they do have is speed.
The one thing they have trouble with, though, is winning faceoffs. Mavs now have won the first 6 faceoffs of this period. They get control off the draw. Krenzen at the blue line.
And their faceoff proficiency all comes from Nolan Sullivan. Sullivan is the guy, because of his technique, because of his approach, because of his mentality on faceoffs, has become a lightning rod for the younger players on this team in terms of learning how to take a draw. And Sullivan's been an elite level faceoff guy in the Nacho for years.
He's taken over 450 this season and is still drawing it right around 60%. Ty Mueller, by the way, not that bad either. Top 10 in the conference in faceoffs as well.
Yeah, Mueller's at 55%. Sullivan at 60. Glenn's at 51.
That's a pretty good start for your top 3 to all be above 50. Here's Pionk now. Tried to shake and bake and lost the puck. Erdahl coming the other way. Zach Erdahl stopped by Stejskal.
Stejskal's been a story of the game. Since the 2-0 goal, Stejskal has been rock solid.
17 saves tonight for the senior from Cohasset, Minnesota. Former state champion with Grand Rapids back in 2017. Standing tall to keep his team close. Scott Sandlin has said it. He and Thiessen have both really stepped up their game. Since a bit of a shaky start in October, they've been fantastic the rest of the way.
It's interesting because he was trying to get one of them to run with the net and play consecutive games, and he let one of them run for about 5 or 6, then got hurt. Another one ran about another 5 or 6, got dinged up a little bit. So each one of them has gone long stretches where they've proven they can handle the net and make big stops. And to me, for Stejskal, this is a huge game.
He might be tested again now. Miller, another stop by Stejskal.
Now remember, on that 2-0 goal, he was a little deep in his net despite the screen. When you take a look at some of the stops he's made this period, his adjustment's been about 6 inches, and it's made a big difference. Now, starting with the breakaway here, when it comes on a breakaway, as soon as the puck hits the hash marks as a goalie, you want to make sure that your heels are right on the crease line so that you force the shooter either to have to go around you, or if he's going to shoot, probably going to shoot right into you. So it was a really nice piece of goaltending IQ by Stejskal with his positioning, reading where the puck was.
How about another faceoff win by Sullivan? Shot whistled in.
That one, I think, hit the crossbar.
Oof. They've come close a couple of times. Some good opportunities in the second for the Mavs. UMD, though, still down just by 1. And Loney on his return to the lineup after missing the last 4. Sees the puck go back to Joey Pierce at neutral. Now Luke Bast, the Alberta native. Pierce to the tape, that time of Perkins, UMD's goal scorer tonight. Couldn't connect with Loney. 10-10 left in the second period.
So you want to talk about little things, like there's a puck that you throw down the wall and create a race, because that flat pass across the line to a player who can't take it on their forehand going clean across the blue line, they had to slow down and stop. The pass never connects. Now you're going the other way. And that, again, happens in that gray zone right by the blue line, 5 feet inside or outside. You get to that point, you can't grab the line with possession clean. Put it in, create a race, get it behind their defense.
5-man battle in the corner. Flipped out by Bettens. Smith trying to chase it down. Krenzen got there first. Kept in by Bettens on the rush now. Oh, had his man open. Mangini, he fires behind the cage. Net was open for a moment. If those two could have connected. Their shift done. Dubitsky back on the puck to Gallatin. Touched along by Clevin. It bounces. Slipik now perhaps in. Jacob Slipik driving. Stejskal again standing his ground. Gallatin might have got a stick in as well. 2 breakaway chances by the Mavs in the last 2 minutes, both denied by the senior netminder. Good hustle play by Jacob Slipik. Gallatin and Stejskal combining to keep this 2-1. Fisher now. Up towards Clevin. Mancini is going to get there first, icing the call against the visitors.
Close call. Stejskal, he didn't have to make the save. But watch the play here. Puck comes in, little bobble at the line here, and Gallatin tried to make a play on the puck, lost it, and Stejskal's in a great spot. You know, he didn't make the stop, as Gallatin came back hard to ride out his man. Stejskal has been a rock star this period.
20 saves in total for the senior. He's made 12 in this frame alone. It was 2-1 after the first. It remains that way, although the Mavs have had some good looks. Bulldogs have pushed a bit as well. They had a couple of decent sequences, but they've mostly been on the receiving end of the chances in the seconds. And UMD winners of 4 of their last 6, trying to climb up the NCHC standings. Here's a turnover now. Nolan Krenzen taking over. The senior D-man from the Duluth area trying to find a way to get that puck to Erdahl. One back by Tanner Ludke. The freshman pressured now by Steeves. Ben Steeves winning it for the Bulldogs. Olsen wide open, off the post. Golden chance for UMD to pull level. The top line out. Steeves finding Olsen. Oh, Ben Steeves that time in the circle nearly had a chance.
Oh, that's his soft spot too.
Both teams with good breakaway opportunities in this middle stanza. Here's Erdahl now, tried to find Miller. It comes to McMenamin. Biondi. Blake Biondi! Tie hockey game! A seeing eye shot from the senior. UMD 2, Omaha 2.
What a play by Biondi at the blue line. You'll see him in the lower part of your screen. McMenamin's taken off. Biondi pulls up and waits so he doesn't go off sides, and then he throws one to the front of the net. I thought that might have hit McMenamin's stick going to the front, but McMenamin splits the D, causes a little distraction by the goaltender Lacosi, and you are right. That's a seeing eye shot, but Biondi made the play for himself by waiting at the line. Now, the linesmen are going into the box. So I'm wondering if it's a challenge for offsides here. I thought Biondi did everything he needed to do to stay onside. And I watched the rush coming up the ice, and you can see Biondi was heading for the line, slowed his roll to wait for McMenamin, and then when McMenamin crossed the line, I thought Biondi came in okay.
Samuel Rankin and Scott Fitzpatrick are linesmen. See Bobby Lucasen in there under the hood as well. Huge call, of course, in this game with 7:15 left in the seconds.
27 is Biondi down low. That was a tough one to see with the speed. But I thought he did enough. Now remember, if your skate is above the blue line, it doesn't have to be on it. It's got to be above it. So here we go. Hard to see on that one with Biondi not in the play. Like my first glance, I thought he was good. Downstairs, they got about 8 different looks. They pick the look they want. And here we go. Let's see what we got on this one. Here comes McMenamin. Watch Biondi in the upper part of your screen. McMenamin is 39. If we can roll that through, we'll get a pretty good look at it here. Back foot. It's up. That's hard to see because 22 sweater's in the way.
Clevin is in the way.
Like, if you go forward again, if you stop it just as the puck hits the blue line, it's hard to tell. Well, here, yeah, it's still hard to tell because you don't know if the toe. Okay, wait, but that last one actually, you might have it by a toe here.
But now it's all about the angle of the camera, right?
Yep.
The camera's coming at it from about the red line, so it's not dead on. And because the call on the ice was onside and a goal, you need that indisputable evidence to overturn.
I'm not sure that's indisputable. And a lot of it has to do just with the fact that the camera that would have a great look at it has Cleven's jersey, and the way Cleven's shoulder obscures the toe of Biondi, and it might be that close.
If it stands, it would be a huge goal for the Bulldogs, as they would have erased the 2-goal deficit. It'd be the 8th of the campaign for Biondi.
Now remember, there could be some different looks in the booth than the ones that we are showing you at home. And the way the process works is about 8 different looks come up for the officials, and they'll pick the ones they want. Then they'll start to go through them. Here's another look at it. The puck is on the blue line. The foot of the skater, you could tell, is a little bit up, but it just has to be up and over the blue line. Now on that camera angle, you can make a case it isn't. You move that camera 5 feet to the left, you might be able to make a case it is. The NHL about 10 years ago did something with replay of pucks over the goal line, where they actually showed a puck that looked over the goal line from looking at the angle out in front. They moved the camera above the goal line, the puck's right on the goal line. It just was the optics of where it was picked up, and we will get a call right now.
After further review, the call on the ice has been overturned. We have no rule.
Wow. I'd like to see the angle they saw. But just, again, just the ones we showed you were not conclusive, nor were they the best angles. I'd have to think those guys saw something different to make a better call than we could see.
What's up, break for the senior from Herman Sound.
But I'll tell you what, Biondi made a heck of a play straight through the thought process of staying onside. And what the replay must have shown is he jumped just a little quick.
It would have been the 4th goal in the last 5 games for Biondi. Blake missed the second half of last season with shoulder surgery. The Montreal Canadiens draft pick. 17 goals as a sophomore, a high-end player who's starting to pick up steam. His team now, though, is back to where they started a moment ago, down 2-1 with 7:15 to go. I'm not sure why I can't say that. 7:15 to go left in the second. Would have been the second assist of the night for McMenamin, but instead, all for naught. Erase it from your memory banks. And we play on with Omaha up 2-1. Here is Bremer. A lot of maroon around him. Gallatin pushing it away. Glenn took out Stejskal that time after he took the bump from Gallatin.
I will tell you what, I think UMD needs a couple of real good shifts back-to-back here just to shake off the fact that they didn't get the goal there and keep the momentum rolling. Like, if all of a sudden they go quiet, then even the excitement of the play goes away. They need to string a couple of shifts together here.
This is a Bulldogs team that has battled back from adversity this season. They can shake off a tough bounce. Well, anybody can, certainly. It would be them. 6:36 to go in the seconds. 2-1 our score here from Omaha.
The Mavericks now 2 for 2 in challenging goals in your last 2 games, Coach. What did you see on that one?
It's all Brian up top. You know, we can't see it on the bench here, so he radios down, lets us know it's offside.
He told you right away.
Yeah, right away.
Great. Thanks so much, Coach. Guys?
Thanks, Shireen. The Brian he's talking about is Brian Suslow, who's the Director of Hockey Operations here at UNO. It's in his first season with the program. He's having a pretty good run, as Shireen said.
He's +2.
He got the Top Gun helmet in the post-game celebration in the locker room, Brian Suslow did, for his efforts in that eventual shootout win against St. Cloud State in Game 2 as Aaron Pionk is shaken up. There's a penalty here that's been a delayed whistle that will blow now. Well, the freshman defenseman slow getting back on his feet.
And I think what happened was, I wasn't sure if it was a stick across the back or a stick in the feet of Pionk, because Pionk went on his retrieval. And yet just out of the corner of your picture, you see the follow through with the cross check on Mueller. And it'll be a power play for UMD, one that they need. So we just talked about the fact that it would be really important right now for them to string a couple of good shifts together. They draw one here. It's an offensive zone penalty, one that's really unnecessary. Good penalties. Teams get excited to go out and kill. As we talked with Brad Berry last week, and he talked about that with his team, they don't mind killing a good penalty that prevents a goal or something, or a hit that changes the game. But you take a penalty like that in the offensive zone, those are the ones that are a little shakier.
So Mueller to the box. Second power play chance for the Bulldogs. One of the top power play units in the country. They could not generate much on that 5-minute major opportunity they had early, and in fact gave up a shorthanded tally in that stretch to get the scoring started for the home team. We'll see what they can do here. This is Steves. Again, his 11 power play goals. Tied for the most in the nation this season. 11 of his 21 coming on the man advantage. He had 12 on the man advantage a season ago. Such a prolific start to his career, number 6 in maroon.
You got a heavy shot and an elite release. Power plays really become your best friend.
Proctor this time able to clean up. Already 50 seconds gone off the Mueller penalty. Good start for the PK for the Mavs again.
And you can tell it's been an easy 50 seconds for Omaha, because UMD, which normally would have changed after an active 50, hasn't changed. Same units on the ice and not getting a lot done on their entries.
Here is Lowhite now. Wearing the C this season across the Gallatin. He'll send it in from the red line. Latkozy to play it. 13 saves tonight for Simon Latkozy, the sophomore.
And Bass, smart play, takes the puck all the way back into his own end, allows a full change for UMD. As soon as Bass jumped, he took Gallatin. As soon as the puck came out, everybody started coming for the bench. He knew he had to buy some time and space.
Benton's able to squeeze by Miller. With a contact in the back of LeMay. Crowd wanted a whistle. Here's Bass at the blue line with 15 seconds left on the penalty. Jack Smith. Job again by LeMay to get the stick in the way. Bass, great keep at the line. Perkins now looking for his seconds. Latkozy, no rebound surrendered this time.
Luke Bass looking a little like Gabe Bass with that pass as he snuck it through. There's the contact in the corner that got the crowd hot and bothered. Little collision down low. UMD with one good chance. Latkozy was able to make a stop. That first unit didn't get a whole lot going.
And that's a surprise. This is a UMD power play that has been fantastic, not just for the entirety of the season, but lately as well.
Yeah, I thought last week, when you watch him against Miami last weekend, there's a lot of cohesion. There was good puck movement. It was going station to station. It was getting through seams. And Gallatin on one side, Steves on the other, really looked like they were getting it together, seaming passes and using Pionk as a decoy up top.
That shot by Bodner, chunk off the mark. Mueller out of the box. Omaha now 2 for 2 on the PK. 2 official shots on frame for Minnesota Duluth on that 2-minute advantage. Still 2-1. Jack Randall shorthanded. Kirby Proctor from the blue line getting the scoring started for UNO. Big goal by Matthew Perkins late in the first to make it 2-1. Mangini now wheeling back. Pass knocked down by Randall. Gavin, the sophomore defenseman. Well, Randall was going for a change. Mangini picks it right back up over to Loney. Good defending by Krenzen. Lansdell able to fend off the back check by Loney. He'll dump it forward. Tired bodies for the Mavs. Partial change here for Mike Gabinet's squad as we approach the 3-minute mark of the second. Puck sent in high off the window. Dubinsky will chase it down. Under the stick of Gallatin. That lets Glenn have a chance at it. Bremer over there as well. Berdahl, the former Wisconsin Badger, up top. Krenzen shot wide of the mark. Ellis pinching in. Bremer. Shot blocked. Dubinsky getting in the way that time. 9th block of the game for UMD. 2:30 to play in the second. Here's Miller. Good moves by the senior to Sullivan. Tried to feed it back for Erdahl. Sullivan gets it back, the Eden Prairie native. This will bounce through the slot, picked up by Erdahl again. The junior now with space. He'll fire just wide. Mangini will chip it out, but not beyond Proctor. Mavericks keeping the pressure on here, Dave.
And this is where it could have gotten dangerous if UMD, well, I was going to say if they hadn't gotten that clear. This has now been a couple of real good grinding shifts here, and UMD's pinned in as a short change.
Loney now can finally escape the pressure just a bit. Fresh bodies on for the Bulldogs. 1:45 to go in the period. Proctor. The senior D-man weaving through. Finally Pierce able to take him off his line. Low heights. He'll sauce it forward for Steves to chase. Shoveled towards Olsen. Mancini back on it. Slipik, nice find to Rollwagon. The sophomore line on for the Mavs. Rollwagon back up. Nobody home though. Perkins right there for the Bulldogs. Back to Krenzen. 70 seconds left.
Lowhite just ran Mancini on the wall, and that's like running into a wall. Lowhite got the worst of that. He's the one that delivered a hit, and he literally bounced off Mancini.
Victor goes 6'4", 215. Bouncing puck to the right of Stayskold, knocked up by Olsen.
Not a Long Island guy, but his dad is. So there's a little, that Strong Island root in there.
It's in there, it's in there.
Yep.
Michigan would be the hometown he claims as Mueller comes forward. Pierce able to break up the pass. Randall back on it. LeMay. So smooth moving forward, the sophomore. 35 seconds left in the period. Joe LeMay across. Lansdale off the bench. Broken up by Biondi. Breakaway chance now for McMenamin. In on set. Cozy shooting just wide. Connor McMenamin with the opportunity. Biondi now with 15 seconds to go. He'll fire from a side angle. Another save by Latkosi. Chance for one more Mavericks rush. LeMay with 5 seconds left over the head that time of Stayskold. And that's going to do it for period number 2. No goals between these two squads, but some great chances at both ends, Dave.
Goalies have been super in this game, and Latkosi had to make a big stop here. Really good read, and Meneman just took off for the races. As he tried to make his move, he was getting chased, so he knew he had to deliver the puck, and Latkosi was in a great spot to make that stop. He was good at the end of the period. Stayskold's been the best player in the game since the 2-0 lead.
Goaltender stepping up here through 40. Coming up during intermission, Shireen will chat with a Mavericks player. We'll also talk a little pairwise with the guy that used to know all about the ins and outs of that particular metric. Mike Kemp, former UNO head coach, will join us, and we'll also chat about the second period. Both teams with good opportunities, but the score remains as it was after the opening 20. Omaha 2, Minnesota Duluth 1. You're watching the NCHC on CBS Sports Network.
An electrifying night in Omaha as the Mavericks holding on to a 2-1 lead after 2. Well, joining me now is Ty Mueller. And Ty, a very close game tonight, very physical, a lot of chances there in the second. What do you think was the difference?
I think it's just going to come down to who works harder. I think both teams are working really hard right now, and it's a back and forth game, super tight check-in, and I think that's what it's going to come down to, who can do it for the full 60.
It looked like the Bulldogs had it all tied up, but upstairs they said, hold on a second, that one was offsides. How much momentum did you guys get from that?
No, that's definitely big, obviously. I'd rather be up one than tied, so great job by Sess up top to catch that one and keep us ahead.
Mike Gabinet talks about the calm but the intensity. You guys are certainly showing that tonight.
Yeah, it's been great all around. We were all 4 lines, all 3 pairs of D. Everyone's playing hard tonight. Simo's doing a great job in the back end, and we just got to keep that going to finish it out here.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate your time. Coming up, we'll take a look with Alex and Dave, and a special guest. Mike Kemp joins him, the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Hockey Committee, coming up around the corner. Stay with us as we continue from Omaha.
Second intermission rolls on from Baxter Arena. 2-1 our score. Number 20 Omaha with a 1-goal advantage over Minnesota Duluth. We are proud to be joined here in the booth by the Executive Associate Athletic Director at the University of Nebraska Omaha and the first head coach, of course, of the UNO men's program, Mr. Mike Kemp. Mike, thanks for taking some time.
Oh, glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Now, a couple of years ago, Mike was in charge of the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Committee, which determines who was going to make the 16-team tournament field that year, because there was no pairwise. This, remember, was the pandemic, so there were no out-of-conference games. What was that experience like to have to nail this down and get a field together for the NCAAs?
It was extremely stressful. I mean, I would not say anything other than that. In fact, I thought it was more stressful than anything I experienced in 33 years of coaching college hockey. You know, it was one of those where we did not want to make a mistake, and we had no comparables. And so we were trying to evaluate from league to league who belonged. And then, of course, to make it worse, our team was on the bubble. And during that time, the best part about it was I was completely eliminated. For about 2 hours, I was out of the picture when the committee discussed who was going to get in when it came to our team and our situation. So, I mean, it was a really, you know, it is one of those things, as the guy that was going to be the face of it, I did not want to have, you know, make a mistake.
Sure.
You know, the true story is Kemper and I were on the phone for a couple hours trying to figure out if Badger Bob Johnson or Herb Brooks was actually the better coach. That was the discussion going on while they were trying to figure this whole thing out.
Exactly. And if you recall, in 1981, that was the backdoor Badgers, and that was a big thing.
When it comes to the NCAA tournament, obviously we talk about there's been neutral site discussion, there's been home site discussion, and there's been regional discussion. This year you got BU and BC that are sitting there high in the pairwise with 2 regionals in the East. I would have to think that part of the committee's decision is you'd like to keep those 2 teams in the East if you can, if for nothing other than attendance reasons.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things where the criteria do call for, you know, consideration on that line. So on the one line, if they're both on the one line, meaning 1 seeds, the likelihood is they would push to have them in the East, obviously, as you say, for attendance reasons.
You know, when we look at the pairwise, here's the first page, and these are teams that right now are looking pretty good. And like we've talked about before, it's so great to the University of Maine back in the picture. Benny Barr's doing a great job. So this group is pretty much in good shape. Now you get to what we like to call the sweat page. The sweat page is where it gets interesting, because you got to look at the top 4 teams here with UMass, Michigan, St. Cloud, and Western. Those teams are in a good spot because the CCHA doesn't have a team up there, and Atlantic doesn't have a team up there. So right now, when you're sitting there as part of the committee, what are you looking at from 13 to 18 in terms of what could shake here?
Well, really what's going to shake out is going to be, are there upsets? Because that's the one key that kicks, you know, you're down 1 more number, because you know you got your 2 automatic qualifiers with the CCHA and with the Atlantic Hockey. So you're going to be in a situation there where it shakes down, then an upset in any one of the other leagues creates a situation where you're going to be knocking somebody down, and then it becomes 12 or 11. That becomes the magic number. So, you know, it's never comfortable at this time of the year, and from here on in, for any of those programs that are close to being in the bubble, they're all trying to work their way up and earn their way to get an opportunity to be in at large. But you're never going to be in a situation where if you're below about 11, you're never going to be comfortable until it's over.
Alex, one guy we know that's going to the tournament is Kemper.
It's Mike Kemp, 100%. He's comfortable. You know you're
very
going.
Comfortable,
no
very
matter
comfortable.
What. Mike, you're the best. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Enjoy watching the rest of this
Kemper.
season and the rest of this game play out. Much more to come here from Omaha. After this, we'll break down the second period after the break. Good back and forth battle here in Omaha. No scoring in that second period. A lot of chances from both sides. The Mavs still with that 2-1 advantage. They're dominating in the dot as expected. Neither side yet to crack the other's penalty kill tonight. Stick around. Third period between Omaha and Minnesota Duluth is coming up next. No goals in the second period, but a lot of talking points, Dave Starman.
Absolutely, and the number one talking point is Zach Stejskal from the University of Minnesota Duluth, who was terrific in the period. A couple of big-time saves. There was a goal waved off. We thought Biondi had tied the game at 2-2. He was offsides by a toenail. And real good call upstairs from Brian Sislow, the director of hockey ops for Omaha, who called down to the bench and said challenge that immediately. Lakotsi with a couple of big stops in that period too, especially close in late in the period. It's been a goaltender's duel. Possession has been a little bit more towards Omaha. And this game has had its ebbs and its flows. But for the most part, this game, you can make a case that Omaha has controlled it, but UMD has shown some real fast break mentality in trying to stretch the rink.
And the Bulldogs now just one goal down in this one-shot hockey game going into the third. Monday night at 6 Eastern, join our Gridiron experts as they highlight all the Pro Bowl action and get you ready for Super Bowl 58. That's NFL Monday QB right here on CBS Sports Network.
The Beanpot first round is Monday night. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Beanpot counts in the pairwise or doesn't? Because they're exhibition games, or no?
Ooh, that is a fantastic question.
Can't remember.
I know BU is playing BC on Monday. They're meeting again after BC swept that home-and-home series this past weekend.
Yeah, BC was really good Friday, and BU was really good Saturday. And Jacob Fowler, who was one of the goalies on the World Junior team that won gold, was terrific for BC in stealing that game on Saturday night.
The Eagles now #1 in the pairwise. BU only dropping to 3 after those 2 defeats. It is a living, breathing document, though. We talked about Omaha being 19 in the pairwise coming in. They're now 22nd based on results around the country. They would love a win tonight to keep improving as Mueller now drives forward. The fire from below the goal line goes behind the cage and rims all the way out. For Minnesota Duluth, they started the night at 26 in the pairwise, knowing they need to pass quite a few teams to get back in the conversation. They're at 25 right now. Here's Pionk. Remember, got shaken up at the end of the second. Good to see the freshman D back out there.
You know, the one thing that Kemper talked about where he was right, as we get it offside here, was the upset component. Like all of a sudden, let's say you get a conference tournament going on. 3 of the teams in that conference are all in a pairwise, and they're all basically locked in. And the team that needs to win out wins out. So, I mean, let's say Merrimack wins the Hockey East playoff championship and they get themselves in. Well, if Hockey East had 6 going, now they got 7.
Now they got 7.
And they're going to knock somebody out who's probably sitting in the 14 hole. So, yeah, that you talk about living and breathing document. That thing could change in a heartbeat come conference tournament time.
Yeah, and that safe zone can get a little tighter come that 3rd Saturday in March. Puck back to the neutral zone. Berdahl on it for the Mavericks. The swing and drive with speed. Berdahl from Eau Claire tried to get it back to Matt Miller that time. Jack Smith in the way. Bass back to Smith. Nice play by the junior defenseman. Pass just too far in front of Bettens. Lycosi, though, forced to play it with Bettens on rushing. UMD would have been offside. Good move by Bettens not to touch that. Shots 24-16 in favor of Omaha. Stejskal with 14 saves in the second period alone. He's made 22 tonight. Mavs a +10 in the circle this evening as well. One of the top faceoff teams in the country showing it this evening. Gavin's shot knocked down by Pierce. The Mavericks trying to gain ground on the Bulldogs in the race for top 4 as a big hit gets laid as Fisher sends Bremer to the ice. Been a physical night, Dave.
It certainly has. This kid Fisher could be a good player. He's got a lot to offer. Plays a really nice game. He's got nice defensive details. He's in plays. I like where he's trending.
Whistle with 17:30 left in the third. This one of 4 games around the NCHC tonight. All the drama in Oxford, Dave. Miami was up 4-2 in that game late. Reese Gaber ties it for North Dakota with 59 seconds left, and then Jackson Blake wins it in overtime. Meanwhile, St. Cloud State against CC, that is a big one.
Huge.
In Colorado Springs on a number of levels.
Especially for pairwise. I mean, that's a big pair. If St. Cloud wins that game, that's a big pairwise win.
Remember, the Huskies are currently 13th in the pairwise, CC 18th, but the Tigers are right on St. Cloud's tail, also in the NCHC race. They're tied with the Pioneers for 3rd in the conference. DU, meanwhile, up on Western Michigan as the Pios try to bounce back after being swept in Grand Forks a week ago. Lansdale, an older player this season, 25 years old. One of a number of 98s playing in the NCHC this season. Part of this veteran core for Omaha that Mike Gabinet has put together. Scott Sandlin now looking on. Will he get another 5-minute major against his squad called?
After review, Minnesota Duluth number 19, 2 minutes board.
So just the 2-minute minor going against Riley Bodnerchuk, the sophomore defenseman.
Purely speculating. Again, pure speculation. Did they give him a break thinking he wasn't sure where the puck was? Did he think Lansdale might have still had it?
Mike Gabinet doesn't argue too much.
Yeah, that's just a thought in my mind of whether or not the player committing the foul just lost all concept of that the puck had left the area.
It does set up the Mavs on another power play opportunity. They're 0 for 2 tonight. Shot by Randall was blocked up and out of play after the faceoff was won by UNO.
So the first faceoff was on the left side. Mueller takes it. He's on his strong side. Now he goes to his weak side here. And watching him a little bit, he's done a couple different things. There are times he will turn and try to move it to the wall. Here I think he wants to go back to Lutke, 71 on the left point.
Another win by Mueller. He's 11-4 now on the dot. UNO plus 11 tonight in the circle. Tanner Ludke across back to Mueller, the junior. Miller helping it along. Ludke to Randall, the former Michigan man. He's from Illinois, but he's chosen Omaha. Played his junior hockey here. A big impact player for the Mavs in his time. One-timer by Mueller, knocked down in front. Goetz got in the way. Ludke back on it. The seam pass, blocked again by Goetz.
Goetz took the first one off the side of the helmet.
Mavericks trying to keep the pressure on. Ludke centering feed, knocked aside again by Goetz, and now the clearance comes but into the Bulldogs bench. Let's go back down to Shireen.
Thanks, Alex. Well, Jesse Lansdale is still in the dressing room being looked at right now. We'll give you an update if he comes out.
Thanks, Shireen. Such a tough hit for that young man to take as Ludke shakes the legs off and heads to the bench. Second unit on now for Mike Gabinet. For Dave Noel Bernier runs the power play. It helps when you got Sullivan in the dot again, winning the face-off. The shot by LeMay was wide. Rollwagon, nice job to keep it alive now. Here is Bremer, trying to get some speed off the flank. Over to Sullivan, broken up well by Gallatin. Not out though. The one-timer gave and fired right at the breadbasket. Another save by Stayskull.
We talked earlier about Sullivan being the guy that has mentored a lot of the players. You see Lansdale coming back to the bench here. Watch where he puts his bottom hand. It's almost a fist off of the bottom of the stick. See how he moves it up? Because he moves it up like that, he can now drive into his opponent a little bit better. If he leaves it all the way down on the bottom, he's a little shoulder heavy and his weight's out over his toes. By moving his hand up just slightly from where he's got it now, see, he does it again, and now he's got leverage.
Another win, another shot from the point, this time by LeMay, knocked aside. And Nolan Sullivan in his 5th season with the program, such a difference maker in the hard areas. Good clearance here by the Bulldogs. Sullivan, by the way, one of 18 men's and women's NCAA hockey players up for the Hockey Humanitarian Award, getting the job done on the ice and in the community as well.
I'll tell you what, I bet you a lot of those women's players watching the Women's Professional League right now are really excited about the prospects of their pro career, much like a lot of players on the men's side are. especially with the early traction that the Professional Women's League has gained. And there's a game coming up at the home of the Toronto Maple Leafs between Toronto and Montreal. Game's sold out.
That's awesome. The PWHL has been a revelation, and you've gotten a front row seat for a lot of those games, Dave.
Competition's good. I mean, you got current Olympians, former Olympians. You get some of the best players that ever played in the game on the women's side playing in the league, and they are special to watch. And so it's creating some opportunities, more opportunities. There's been women's pro hockey for a while, especially over in Europe, but now it's really starting to create a league in North America, 6 teams only, so it's not spread out all over the place. And I really think with the management and the backing behind it, it's got a chance as long as it takes its baby steps in growing.
I would agree. UMD able to kill that penalty off now. The Bulldogs 3 for 3 on the PK. 3-1 our score. Omaha had the first 2. Bulldogs got a big win at the end of the first before UNO was able to restore that 2-goal lead here. And they're looking for more as Mueller tries the wraparound. It bounces off the skate of Gallatin. Ellis able to keep it in. Only for a moment, though. Benton's now back through neutral.
Good stick by Dubinsky.
Beyond Yanit, poked away from behind by Mueller. Big swing and a miss that time by the senior from Hermantown. Tanner Ludke back on the puck for the Mavs. He will shovel this forward and go for a change. Just over 13 minutes to go in the third. Here come the Bulldogs. Bettens to Biondi. Remember, he scored in the second, then it was waved off for an offside call on review. Can he find the touch here? Mancini pushing it along. Bremer back to the red line where Luke Bast waits. Steves quiet so far tonight for the nation's leading goal scorer. Proctor.
I'd love to see the even strength possession time in this game. Let's take the power play stuff out of it, because Omaha's been pretty good on the power play, or pretty good killing penalties. But I'd love to see the even strength possession time after the game. I would have to think it favors Omaha a decent amount, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have won so many draws and started with the puck quite often.
We're going to step away. 12:35 to go in regulation. The hosts with a 2-goal lead on the visitors from Duluth.
Hockey fans, the NCHC Frozen Faceoff returns to XL Energy Center and the State of Hockey March 22nd and 23rd.
Here's Mueller to the forehand, scores! What a pretty move!
Be part of the excitement and fan-friendly fun at the 2024 NCHC Frozen Faceoff.
Okabe on the backhand and in the back of the net!
Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com.
What if all I do for my type 2 diabetes isn't enough? Or what if?
Once weekly Mounjaro could help. Mounjaro helps your body regulate blood sugar and can help you eat less food. 3 out of 4 people reached an A1C of less than 7%. Plus, people lost up to 25 pounds. Mounjaro is not for people with type 1 diabetes or children. Don't take Mounjaro if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Mounjaro and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, vision changes, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis and gallbladder problems. Taking Mounjaro with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Tell your doctor if you are nursing, pregnant, or plan to be. Side effects include nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, which can cause dehydration and may worsen kidney problems.
I can do diabetes differently with Mounjaro.
Ask your doctor about once weekly Mounjaro.
Well, there are a couple of things that we were talking about earlier that we thought were keys to the game. On the UMD side, depending on the dependables, the power play is 0 for 2. Statesville's been good, but their big scorers have been held off the board. And for Omaha, we felt that possession off faceoffs was going to be a big part of the game, and they are 28 and 14 on the dot.
Just doubling up the opposition. Again, one of the best faceoff teams in the country.
Make that 29 and 14.
It has been almost automatic. It was close through the first period, but they have dominated since. Part of the reason why they have this advantage. Well, loose puck now. Steves finds it in the slot. Lacozy got run over that time by Lowhite. It's a couple of cross checks for his troubles, and watch out now. Lohheit and Erdahl mixing it up. That might have been the chance there for the Bulldogs. Steves with the puck in the slot. Big save by Latkozy to keep it 3-1.
This kid's been making big saves all career, and he makes another one right here as he stops Steves, and then he gets run over by Lohheit. Now, the goaltender's way out of the crease. It's a great challenge by Latkozy. Look where he gets out to. Great stop here, but if you're the UMD player, you've got to make every opportunity or every effort to avoid making contact with the goaltender. That happened pretty quick, and I'm not sure Lohheit even saw him, but still, that is interference with the goalie.
We should give Jacob Gavin some credit, by the way. The sophomore defenseman flying in to throw his body in the way of that shot by Steves. Lohheit currently is in the box, as is Matt Miller, who you see there. Here's the explanation.
Minnesota Duluth, number 16, has 2 minutes for goaltender interference and a minor penalty for roughing. Number 27 on Omaha has a minor penalty for roughing.
And Lohheit might be saying, hey, I never saw him as he was coming across the crease so hard. I mean, where Latkozy was, it's not a spot you find a lot of goalies. I mean, he was probably 2.5, 3 feet above the top of the crease.
Shake of the head from the Bulldogs captain.
And Scott Sandlin wants one of the two referees to come over with an explanation. And by the way, I know you got a response from somebody about the Beanpot question. I just wasn't sure. And the Beanpot games are considered non-conference, non-exhibitions. That was my bad. I just couldn't remember. I've watched the Beanpot so long I couldn't remember. So those games do count in the pairwise, and BU BC will be a big one.
So 12-11 left in regulation, and it's a 4-minute penalty against Lohheit. 2 minutes for Miller. So the Bulldog captain in the box. And to your point, Dave, I don't know if there was much he could do about that, where Latkozy was outside the crease and how quickly he came out to challenge.
Right, it's one thing if the goalie's on the top of the crease and you run him over, because you're saying to yourself as you're heading in that area, there's a possibility that you could run into him. But look where Latkozy is here, and then just keep your eyes on Lohheit. Like, to me, Lohheit really never looked ahead before he ran into the goalie. So letter of the law, that's goaltender interference. But when you look at it through the eyes that we're trying to explain, I'm telling you, Lohheit, I've never seen him, and Latkozy was way out.
So because it's a 4-minute penalty, it'll be a 5-on-4 now in favor of the home team. Bettens will serve the additional penalty for the Bulldogs. So another crack, up by 2 for this UNO power play. Navs 0 for 3 tonight, and now Mangini forcing the turnover. Here comes the freshman, shorthanded, stopped by Latkozy. Another breakaway save by Simon Latkozy, now 4-on-2 the other way for the home team. Bulldogs now back in numbers. Tanner Ludke on this left flank, back to his brother Griffin. Ty Mueller. Shot deflected, Lansdell. And then the puck goes away as the cage comes off. Another huge stop, Dave, on a breakaway chance tonight.
And he has been terrific in the breakaway department all game long. Both goalies have. And UMD has just had a penchant for popping pucks out and reading some routes and jumping out for breakaways. Look at the positioning of Latkozy. It's a left-handed shot, tries to go across the body a little bit. And the young goaltender in a perfect spot to get the pad out in front of it.
Mike Gabinet said he took him out of the firing line on Saturday after back-to-back-to-back games in which he'd allowed 6 goals against the likes of Denver and St. Cloud. So sometimes you just need a mental break. He has come back strong, firing, fit, ready to go from the off tonight.
And let's be honest about it. You give up 6 goals to Denver, you had a good night.
The nation's goals leader. They can score against the best of them. Latkozy watching his team now still on this man advantage. A minute to go. That shot knocked aside. Randall back on it. Got the scoring started shorthanded this evening for the Mavs early in the first as they killed off a 5-minute major to set the tone. Griffin Lutke's shot knocked aside. Lansdale had the chance. Tanner Lutke back on it. Rebound there. Now cleared away. Bodnarchuk got the stick in. 35 seconds to go on the penalty. Lutke lost an edge this time. Loney tripping him up. Here comes Olsen. Trying to weave past LeMay. The sophomore taking the fifth-year senior down.
Did Olsen just get away with one?
A little physical sequence there from both teams as Pierce now chops down Gavin. 10:20 to go in the third. Bulldogs have nearly killed off the 2-minute minor, which will get Bettens out of the box now. Lowhite will stay in, of course, for another 2. Back to 5-on-5. Shots 30-17 in favor of the hosts. Faceoffs 30-15. Omaha still controlling that metric. Dubinsky tied up over to Pierce. This will bounce and come to McMenamin. Sullivan F1 trying to throw the Bulldogs off. It'll be Pierce who will come away with it. 2 shots on goal, by the way, on that Mavericks power play. The best chance though falling to the Bulldogs, who are not out of this yet with 9.5 to go.
With Ben Steeves in your lineup, you are never out of a game.
Here's Mancini. Glenn once more. Trying to line something up. Got through the traffic, but wide. Proctor again. He scored from roughly that angle back in the first. Comes to Slipik. Fast battling with him. Gallatin. The Hugo, Minnesota native across to Perkins. Loney. Trying to get it through neutral. Erdahl is there. He's been active tonight. Carter Loney will send it in and go for a change. Under 9 to play. 3 big points on the line. If the result holds, Omaha will be back within 2 points of Minnesota Duluth and back within touching distance of the top 4.
Sometimes the middle of this conference becomes more fun than the top of it. Right? It's where the
I would agree with that.
Right? It's the unpredictability of who's going to claim home ice and where's the upset. Is the 4-5 upset coming? Is the 3-6 upset coming?
We saw the 7-2 upset come last year.
Yeah.
With CC going to Lawson and beating Western Michigan en route to the Frozen Faceoff title game. It is an unpredictable middle. 8 typically does not get past 1, but everything else is fair game. Sunday night at 8 Eastern. Do not miss the toughest 8 seconds in all of sports as the best bull riders on the planet take their talent to Sacramento. Watch PBR Unleash the Beast right here on CBS Sports Network.
It all comes down to those teams in the middle of the conference. It comes down to how well are you playing when you hit game 1, whether you're playing game 1 at home, whether you're playing game 1 on the road. How much are you gelling as you're starting to hit the playoffs, knowing that you probably have to win out to get into the national tournament? Because there have been some teams that have come in 5-1 in their last 6, that kind of 4-1-1 in their last 6, and they're playing well and they believe. And you get a skilled team in this conference that believes in what it's doing, they get very dangerous very quickly.
Oh, there's Bremer whiffing on the attempts. And now Bettens throwing the body around as Lansdale goes flying, not for the first time tonight. And now Bremer going to get mixed up with Lowhite on the bench. Got to be careful over there. It has been, again, this is the 3rd game this season these 2 teams have played. There is no love lost between the Dogs and the Mavs.
And Jack Smith getting in there, and he threw his weight around a little bit.
Well, Smith is shaken up.
I mean, he really stepped into somebody right along the bench, and I didn't see who got him, but somebody got him from the side. There's one Maverick in the box to start with. Play came up the wall. Here's the first hit. And that was Smith. Here's the follow-up in the neutral zone. And then it came a bunch of little skirmishes. There came Smith, who retaliates from his first hit that he took down low in the defensive zone.
Omaha penalty number 26, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. Omaha penalty number 10, 2 minutes for roughing. Duluth penalty number 12, 2 minutes for roughing. The previous play is under review for a potential major penalty.
Which means there must be some contact at the head somewhere, or grabbing at the face mask.
There was a lot going on in front of that Bulldogs bench. You saw one of the Dogs players' gloves caught in the cage of a Maverick, which with that rule change from a couple of seasons ago now is an automatic 5-minute and game misconduct penalty. We'll see if that's what they're looking at here.
So here's where like the mini skirmishes began.
We would say clean so far. A little cross check from behind there.
Okay, there's a slash in the face. There's a punch to the face, so you can make a case those should be equal. And that might be where the face cage got grabbed potentially, or here it is right here. But that's not really a grab. That was more of a face wash. You know, there's a difference between putting your fingers in and grabbing a face mask and kind of giving somebody the stinky glove, and then there was the punch sneaky to Smith.
Yeah, right at the end, Gavin went low a bit on Smith, and that's what shook up the Minnesota Duluth forward. A lot to unpack in that sequence. In what is still a 2-goal hockey game with 7:33 to go.
And you'd have to think that UMD has got the mindset of they've been pretty good at eliminating space at the offensive blue line. They've jumped a lot of routes. They've forced a lot of defensemen into turnovers. They've attacked a lot of triggers, which have caused turnovers, and they've sprung some breakaways. So the green light is flashing at the far end for them to go, go, go whenever they get the chance to. And for them, that's where you build a little belief in the fact that you can quick strike yourself back into a 1-goal deficit and then maybe a tie. Busy night for the Stripes in the official scorer's booth. You should probably be paying rent.
They have spent a lot of time over there tonight.
After the review, there is no major penalty on the play.
So Brian Hank has said it, no major here as Gabinet and Sandlin look on. It will be a power play for the visitors, and perhaps the chance that UMD is looking for here to get a little bit closer.
This unit between Lowhite and Olsen, 15 and 16, they are pretty good in the slot, whether one goes to the bumper or one goes to the front of the net. Biondi has shown some proficiency in that bumper role also. Pionk is really good up top. If they can win a face-off here and get position and get set up, they could be in business. It's when they have had to chase off a clear is when they've had some trouble.
No surprise, Sullivan the win. And Lowhite, who's not really a center, forced into that because Dominic James, who would be their #1 center, is done for the season. A shoulder injury that he suffered in the first weekend of the year against Northern Michigan, keeping him out.
And then Spicer injured as well.
Well, unfortunately for Cole, it's an academic issue as Steves comes in.
I'm sorry.
I don't blame you for thinking it was an injury because that has been the story for this Bulldogs team this season.
Yep, no, I'm looking at my notes right here and overread them. And it's funny because Spicer was sitting just under 50% on draws before he got the academic issue.
I think James was, what, 75% in those first 2 games? Again, small sample size, but one of the best centers in this conference, a Blackhawks draft pick that played for Team USA at the World Juniors a couple of years ago.
Watch Omaha's centers they set up. Watch the stick positioning here. This is the other key component. Look how they cheat on draws. It's legal cheating, but it's cheating. They don't put their stick to intersect the dot. They put their stick almost parallel to the dot, and that gives them the ability to sweep back quick. Their technique is great.
Euler now 14 and 5 after that win. Rebound in front. Biondi pushed it just wide. That Cozy made the initial save. Mavericks will clear. Still, though, 1:20 left on the power play. But not anymore. Look at that.
Well,
I think
it's coincidental. I think Biondi's going, and I'm wondering if someone else is going. Yep, Mancini's going too.
Duluth penalty number 27, 2 minutes for embellishment.
So the rare embellishment call going against Blake Biondi.
There's a part of me that thinks that Mancini's sitting in the box saying, hey, listen, when I hit somebody, they don't have to embellish it. They're hurt.
So 5 players in the box, 3 for the Mavs, 2 for the Dogs.
Here we go. There's Mancini, 23 in white. Reaches up. Oh, yeah. It's a good call.
Just a bit of a tap that time by the Rangers draft pick on the Canadiens pick. Biondi going down a little soft. It'll stay 5-on-4 officially. So the power play will persist. 1:15 to go on the man advantage for the Bulldogs. 6:45 to play in the third. Alex Seiner, Dave Starman, Shireen Saski, and our crew with you. Is there another twist in this? Can the Bulldogs, with one of the nation's best power plays, find a way to get past this Mavericks PK and get back within 1? They just have had no zone time, Dave, because of their inability to win those draws.
That's it. It's every power play. They've been starting with a retrieval. So now they're forced to try to gain the zone either with a chip or possession. And Omaha's been pretty stingy at the line, and they have really eliminated UMD from using the slingshot. They've read that pretty well and not allowed it.
Another clearance here by Glenn. Fresh bodies on now for the Mavs. 30 seconds to go on the man advantage. 6 minutes left in regulation. Here is Bettens. The sophomore will rim this in. Stopped by Latkozy. Perkins, UMD's goal scorer, up to Gallatin. To Steves. The danger man for the Bulldogs, trying to create space. Shot stopped. Latkozy able to hang on to it. Couple of big bodies in front, but the Slovakia netminder able to make the save.
Steve's a little frustrated. Steve's plays on his off wing. He's a left shot who's playing on the right side, and they leave him out here on this change here. Well, they've actually got 6 out, so somebody's got to go. And they won't leave him out there. But he is the, like I said, he's a left shot, plays the right side. Normally when you're on your off wing on the flank, you want to be a little closer to the top of the circle. He spent a lot of time in tonight's game coming up high to retrieve puck. Now he's got to drive downhill on his offside where he can't protect the puck as well.
Back to 5-on-5 now. Lohite in the zone, shot blocked in front. Pionk at the points. Olsen outside the circle, cross ice, great feed there. Latkozy the save. Loney was crashing in. The whistle will finally come. A lot of bodies in the blue paints. Another kill for the Bulldogs. 2 shots on frame. Simon Latkozy with 20 saves tonight, now over 1,000 in his young career. His team still up by 2. 3-1 our score. The Mavericks creeping closer to 3 big points at home in the NCHC standings. Their defense stepping up big down the stretch. Time to switch to easy mode for the Geico plays of the game. The goalie's getting some love, Dave.
Goalie's been really good tonight. Stejskal struggled a little bit early. He's been great ever since. And Latkozy, as advertised, quick, athletic, structure in his game, big save goalie. And he has been great down the stretch as UMD has put the pressure on.
20 saves tonight for Latkozy. 28 for Stejskal. 3-1 our score. 5:18 to go in regulation. Lohite, the face-off win. Puck though comes to Krenzen. Randall a big hack. Mueller able to get it clear now. Right to Gallatin though. Across back to Lohite. We'll flip this far side where Steves is crashing in. This is a Bulldog team that has struggled at times to score around Steves. He's got 21 goals this season. Their next highest, Anthony Mangini and Blake Biondi, both with 7. Mike Gabinet said when one guy scores about 80% on the power play and is racking up goals like he is, you kind of spend a lot of time targeting number 6. Mavs though doing a good job in the entirety of the defense slowing down this Bulldog offense tonight?
I just think Omaha's been really good in the middle of the rink in terms of A, gaining possession, and B, now UMD has always been a wide drive team. I mean, even going back to the championship teams, they made their hay driving outside the dot lanes and then creating offense off of it. Omaha's been really good at defending the line, and they've been just great on the dot.
To that point on the faceoffs, the Mavs now 26 wins to 7 defeats over the second and third periods. 35-16 total in faceoffs. They've been fantastic.
Like I said, part of it's been technique. And what David Noel Bernier told me before the game, this was really fascinating. He said they do a drill where the coach stands on the faceoff dot facing two guys on the wall on opposite sides of the hash marks. And what he does is he drops the puck, and the two players on the wall have to race in for the puck, and the winner of the puck gets to play one-on-one in the circle in terms of possession. And then he opens it up a little bit more, but it all starts off. Now that's developing secondary win habits, both for your defending player or from the offensive side of it. And because of that, they have just gotten so much better. He goes, but it is a huge staple of their program, what they do on faceoffs, to encourage not only the first technique of the win, but the secondary component and roles and plan to get the puck back.
And just as you were explaining that, they demonstrated perfectly. Glenn gets the tie-up. Bremer comes in to win the puck for the Mavs. And now they have possession. Or at least they did a moment ago. Now the Bulldogs trying to take it back. It comes to Griffin Ludke.
Listen, Brian Trottier was a great centerman for the New York Islanders all these years, but having Clark Gillies plowing off the wing at 6'4", 230 didn't hurt.
Couple of bodies over there. Pierce, Bodnarchuk mixing it up. Comes to Tanner Ludke at the blue line. His goal has given the Mavs a little breathing space here in the third. Remember, it was 2-1 after the first, 2-1 after the second. Ludke's goal extending the advantage as Mancini now gains the zone. Under 3 to play in this final frame of regulation. Tanner Ludke watched by Pierce. Tried to get it back to Mueller, who will poke it along. Physical game tonight. Again, game 2 coming up tomorrow. Mueller, the one-timer, blocked aside. Bulldogs have blocked 12 shots now this evening.
Well, let's keep an eye on Stayskill now as we get down to 2.5 and a 2-goal lead. I would think UMD gets possession with some fresh troops on the ice, and yep, here he comes.
Right on cue. Empty net, intercepted by Randall. Bulldogs back in numbers. 6-on-5 situation now. UMD wins it back through Gallatin.
Cardinal mistake by Pionk. He let a muffin come to him instead of going to get it.
Biondi, saved by Latkozy. 2 minutes even remaining in the third.
It's one thing if somebody snaps a pass to you and you can try to set up a one-timer and go with it, but there was a puck that was just floating along the ice, and Pionk was in the proximity of it, but Pionk was retreating just a little bit, hoping the puck was going to get to him so that he can rip it for a one-timer. It never got to him. And that's where you got to step into the puck and make sure you got possession, because you're in that gray area that we've talked about all night, 5 feet inside or out of the blue line.
Scott Sandlin will call his timeout now to set something up off this faceoff. In Pionk's defense, he's only been a defenseman for 3 years. He made that switch in his second season of juniors.
Okay, let me counter this one. The counter on that one is, it doesn't make a difference if you're playing D, forward, whatever. Sure. I mean, if you got a puck if you want a puck, you got to go get it. And you can't. It's the biggest difference between pros and non-pros, or high-level players and non-high-level players, and that is when a puck is coming towards you and a puck is near you, you take those 2 or 3 steps to go get it, and you don't assume it's coming to you. Because as soon as you do, you don't wind up with it. And let's take a look at it. You see how soft that is? So Pionk's trying to set up to go for the one-timer. He's got pressure on him. He's got to step into that puck. And I'm not picking on Pionk. I mean, there are a lot of kids that make that mistake. He just made that one. But if you're a young player and you're watching this, that's something you got to think about. And that is, there are pucks in proximity to you. Do not wait for the puck to come to you. Go get it. And make sure that you're the one that's got possession.
Aaron caught just a bit flat-footed at the blue line, and Jack Randall nearly able to take advantage for his second of the night.
No way we're getting into the Sheridan Duluth now.
It was fun while it lasted, Dave.
Mrs. P might be a little upset with us.
see the empty net. Stejskal still off. Big face-off coming here to the left of Latkozy. Sullivan versus Low Heights.
Now remember, the defending team, the defensive zone team's got to put down first. And look at the stick again of Sullivan.
He's been so consistent this evening. Erdahl to finish it off. A face-off win leads to the empty net tally. Omaha 4, Minnesota Duluth 1. All 3 points staying in Baxter tonight.
Once again, look at the stick of Sullivan. He's able to block out Low Height and send it right back. And then it was just a quick trigger up ice by Omaha. They are one of the best teams that I have watched this year in any league at winning defensive zone draws and getting a quick out with an empty net a little easier. But once again, they win a face-off, and their D clean, clear, and out.
6th of the season for Zach Erdahl. Nolan Sullivan with his 12th face-off win on his 15th draw tonight. The crazy thing is, by the way, they're not the best face-off team in the conference, although after tonight, with the way the scales have shifted, they might pass Colorado College. But there are so many good face-off teams in the NCHC. But that's the old saying, iron sharpens iron. You got to be good in the dot in this league. Omaha has been that and more tonight as Steves tries to throw one in front, knocked aside. Steves again. Shot affected once more. UNO has been so aggressive when the sophomore's gotten the puck. 60 seconds left in this one.
My general feeling is Steves will not be this quiet tomorrow. It is, I mean, scorers tend to go in streaks, but this is not the kind of kid that if he doesn't score one night is going to have it sit easy with him. And I guarantee you Steves will be a little bit more involved tomorrow night scoring-wise.
He does have 14 goals in his last 12 games. He's done so much damage over the last 2 months. Tough guy to hold down on back-to-back evenings. Another breakaway chance. Glenn coming in. Jimmy Glenn putting the moves on. And it's 5 for the home team.
Well, UMD didn't quit. They battled, trying to get some offensive chances. And then this is just beautiful. Glenn with a nice play. Goes to the front of the net, shakes and bakes on Stejskal. And puts an exclamation point on this one. Don't let that go if you're Stejskal to find your night, because when the chips were down and your team needed you to be good, he was.
One of the only times tonight that a breakaway has gone the way of the attackers. For Glenn, it's his 5th of the season. He might have wanted to save that move maybe for a little later in the season or a little different situation with this team up 4-1.
Yeah, listen, video lives all year. He can show that whenever he wants.
Pretty good stuff for Jimmy. So the final score not going to indicate how close this game was for much of it, but a big win tonight for the Mavericks. And they move a little closer to the Bulldogs in the standings. Final horn sounds here as the Red Army gets on their feet for the home team. 5-1 your final. Omaha with a big win this evening, both in the NCHC and in the national pairwise picture as well. Frustrating night for Scott Sandlin, Cody Chupp, and the Bulldogs. They're going to crack in game number 2 24 hours from now.
It was one of those nights where they were sleepy early, then they managed the game fairly well, had their opportunities, down 2-1, had a goal taken off because of an offside, and then Latkozy was just real good the rest of the way.
So 3 points to the good for the home team, and as we said, now they are just 2 points back of Minnesota Duluth. Getting awfully tight in the middle in the NCHC in the race for top 4. Let's set things down now to Shireen, who's standing by with Jack Randall.
Thanks, Alex. Well, Jack, congratulations. This was a game where power play and special teams were important. You guys killed that 5-minute major early. You got the shorty, and it set the tone for the game.
Yeah, that was huge. Building that momentum early in the game to kill that one off, and I was lucky to get one on the kill, which is always nice.
Simon Lacosi, what can you say about how he was in net tonight? Breakaway after breakaway, he stopped.
Yeah, you know, whenever we got him back there, we're always confident. He's going to play solid. He's so consistent back there. Yeah, some huge saves to keep us in it early, and yeah, just love the way he competes and plays every game. So yeah, we love having him back there.
Thanks, Jack. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Guys.
Jack Randall, one of 5 different goal scorers for the Mavs tonight. 23 saves for Latkozy. 5-1, your final. Number 20, Omaha, the victory over Minnesota Duluth. For Dave Starman, Shireen Saski, and their entire crew, including our producer, Carlos T. Molina, our director, Logan McDonald, I'm Alex Heinert. After the break, stay tuned for the 2023 Super High Roller Bowl 8. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.